Hello, welcome to Leverton on Gaming. Today I'm going to talk about an arcade and NES classic, 1943, the Battle of Midway, and I'm going to answer the question, should you play it in the year of our Lord 2026? I am on a sort of a weird side quest where I want to beat all NES games. I think that there's over 5,000 of them. And the way that I'm going to do it is by cheating because I'm not the best gamer. I don't have huge gamer skills. I am what the kiddies maybe about 20 years ago would call a noob. Not because I am new. I've actually been playing Nintendo games for on and off for, I don't know, 30 years, something like that. A long time, 30 years, 40 years probably, actually. 45, I don't know. It just keeps getting more and more with time. Anyway, I wanted to choose this game to start the whole project with because after the game came out in 1987. It was published by Capcom, and I'll talk a bit more about the game and the advantages and disadvantages of this game. Um, it came out in 1987, and shortly thereafter, my cousin and we rented a Nintendo because you had to, like, that's what people would do. They would rent consoles and they would rent games to play with them, to play on the consoles. And so we rented the Nintendo console and we rented this game. And I remember thinking that, oh, it looks so awesome. It looks so cool. So like modern, the graphics, and you can see what the graphics look like on the screen now. Clearly not so modern, but in the time, in the early, like late 80s, they were pretty modern. It was like having an arcade game in your home. So it was really, really fun, but we died all the time. I think that we weren't able to get past a few stages, and we got really frustrated that we couldn't beat this game. Well, you know what, Matt? 30 years later, I beat the game. I had to cheat to do it, but I did beat the game. So let's talk about the actual game. You play a fighter pilot who is flying a P1 Mustang, and basically he's all alone against the entire force of the Japanese Air Force and Navy, and he has to shoot down a bunch of planes. He has to shoot down battleships and lots of different bombers and things. And the gameplay is really quite repetitive. You have the planes that are attacking you doing the same patterns, and after the first two or three levels, the enemies that you get are the same until the very end when there's a big battleship. Um, and the the weird thing that doesn't make any sense for me is that why is there only one American plane up against all of the Japanese army and like Air Force and Navy Force? It doesn't make any sense. It would be better. So sometimes you can have like companion planes, and that's what the cheat that I did. So basically, I the cheat I had was for invincibility and power, like infinite power, because you can lose power. And then I also added the two companion planes. And so the gameplay is really repetitive, like I said, but there are really cool things. Like you can get a laser, you can get these really cool power ups, like the gun spray can be different. You can get like these lasers. So clearly, the game is not designed to be an historical sort of reconstruction of what it was like at the Battle of Midway. If this uh, P1 lightning can actually shoot lasers and actually control the weather, because you have this power up where you can, cause lightning to happen. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's why. That's what the Japanese thought the plane could do. I don't think so. I think they just thought that that was a unique idea, and it makes the game a little bit more fun. Um, yeah. So the power ups are really good, and I think the game is fun for like 10, 20 minutes, and it's fun to play with your friends, but it's not it's kind of a drag if you actually want to beat the game, because first of all, it's incredibly difficult. Like, you'll get shot a bunch of times, and even if you're cheating, it's sort of a drag, because I was cheating, as I said, and I think it took me about an hour or two to beat the game. And you're just sitting there clicking the buttons, like really, really tiring. And I don't remember exactly, but the arcade version had a certain amount of levels, and then when you beat those levels, it would say, "The war is over. The enemy has disappeared." And because I guess they wanted to make the value better for the home market, the console version has like 11 more levels, which I knew that, but it's like really, really weird, because you have the original ending and it's like, oh, the enemy has gone home. Oh no, just kidding. It's a trap. They're back. And then you're back, and then you defeat them again, and then the real ending comes where the guy, I don't know how he does this in 1943, but he is able to like uh call his girlfriend, I guess, and he's saying he's on the way home and the war is over, which I don't know. I think maybe the Japanese designers of this game were trying to avoid how the war actually ended, which is reasonable. And there's not much to say like surrounding the game that's interesting, but the one thing would be that um, the lead designer, got criticized for making the protagonist of the game be American, and he did that for two reasons. The first reason was he they were looking to break into the American market with this game. And the second reason is, like, when you play a game like this, you want to be sort of on the side of the winners. And that didn't stop the game from being popular. It was one of the most popular arcade games in 1987 uh, in Japan. So the Japanese youth didn't really have any problems with it, but more right-wing people, like very nationalist Japanese people, said that it was a dishonor to the souls of the fallen, which is interesting because they, it's not like Japan were the good guys in World War II, but they have this sort of like, it's weird because the Nazi regime was completely destroyed, and the Japanese regime was kind of co-opted by the Americans because they were afraid of communism. So there's lots of things that still exist in Japan that are connected to World War II. So some people never had this historical record, like reckoning, like what they did in China was horrible, they didn't. And this game doesn't touch upon that because, as I said, it's not really realistic. You fly a plane that can shoot double lasers, so it's not a sort of nuanced examination of the Second World War. Is it fun? Yeah, for a while. I give it maybe like a 6 out of 10. But what do you think? Do you like this version of 1943? Have you played it? Do you have any fond memories or uh, any disappointments like I had in my youth connected to this game? Let me know in the comments section. Write a lot of comments. Really helps the people pick up the channel. If you like what I do, please subscribe. As I said, I'm trying to be the most prolific reviewer, but obviously if you're a reviewer, you want people to actually interact with your reviews. All right. So thank you for your time. Bye bye.